Like he had to lower his head to enter the gym. Probably like 5'9", and I was playing center because I was like the tallest and like strongest dude on my team. Guarding this dude, the Huck. They said he was too tall to play in the NBA by DKM. Alright, let's go.
The tallest players in the NBA right now are Zach Edey and Victor Wembanyama. They're
7'5",
listed at
7'4".
7'4", but those guys are dwarfs in comparison to this 18-year-old prodigy who the NBA needs to get ready for. Here is a
That's
video of
Olivier
Olivier
Ryu,
Ryu
right?
cutting the neck
Yeah.
after his Florida
I
Gators.
played against him in high school. I played against him. He was probably like a 7-footer in high school. Back in high school, and I probably like a. Back in the day, I was probably like 5'9", and I was playing center because I was like the tallest and like strongest dude on my team. Guarding this dude, the Huck. Bro, shit. Like he had to lower his head to enter the gym.
But what's the difference between him and every other champion following this tradition? Ryu doesn't need a ladder, he's standing still. He can dunk a basketball without jumping, and watching him in layup lines looks like a toddler playing on a mini hoop. And that's because he's 7'9", making him 5 inches taller than the tallest current NBA player. But Ryu isn't just a giant among current players, he's taller than the tallest players ever. George Morrison and Manute Bol were 7'7", and the scariest thing is that Ryu is still growing. Just look at this viral video from a few months ago when he meets Shaquille O'Neal. Freeze on Shaq's face right here. Don't forget, Shaq is 7'1". 99.9% of his life he's been the tallest person in the room. He's probably never had to look up at somebody that tall in his entire life. Olivier Ryu is insane, and he's been breaking records since coming out of the womb. At 5 years old, he was taller than his teacher in kindergarten. He was 6 feet at just 8 years old. He was 7 feet at 12 years old, and at 14 years old...
Bro, I guarantee you he was 7 foot when I played against him. I'm pretty sure I played against him at like 13 or 14, so he was definitely 7 foot.
Became the world's tallest teenager at 7'5". He's been officially recognized by the Guinness World Records book as the tallest teenager since. And when you really think about it, even back then in 2022, he was taller than Victor Wembanyama is now at 14 years old. Olivier Ryu has been going viral for years when a video leaked of him dominating his competition at 12 years old. As you can see by the highlights, this wasn't
that's like
fair.
me
The
playing
footage
against
even
that
caught
dude,
the
dog.
attention of current NBA stars, with Steph Curry commenting on posts that he had so many questions that nobody has answered. And I bet you have questions too, so let me answer them for you, because those clips were several years ago.
Hold on,
Ryu
there's
has grown
that's
a lot
not
since
me.
then, and
That's
not
not
just
me.
physically.
That's not me,
When you
bro.
think about being,
I used to be a fat ass kid, but that's not me.
do you think of it as a blessing or a curse or both?
Blessing.
A blessing.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear. Why do you say that, generally speaking?
You can use it for almost everything. You can use it for being famous. You can use it for basketball. You can use it for highest shelf in the kitchen or whatever.
Hold on, which gym is
So,
it?
yeah.
If this is the right gym,
So
I might have
starting
played
out,
in that
Olivier
gym.
Ryu, born in Canada February 2006, comes from an athletic background. While his father at 6'8" was a photographer, his mother Anna played volleyball, and his older brother Camille, who's 6'8", played basketball. But Olivier was different, and once he started gaining popularity on social media playing AAU in his home country of Canada, he travelled to Europe to join Real Madrid, the most successful European club who have a reputation of developing NBA talent. Luka Doncic is their best ever player and biggest name, but other NBA success stories
Luka was a
include
pro
Nikola
at
Mirotic,
16.
Usman Garuba, and Willy Hernan Gomez. It was here in Madrid, standing out against the top youth teams across Europe, that some top high school programs in America took interest, and Olivier Ryu chose to join IMG Academy, one of the top schools in the United States. They have a reputation of developing talent. Just check out the list of NBA players that have attended their program. The most interesting case study on this list is Zach Edey, who funnily enough is also Canadian. When Edey first arrived at IMG, he had no interest in playing basketball. He actually wanted to be a baseball player, and at first he was nowhere near ready, but the coaches at IMG were patient, prioritizing his development, and in time he became a ranked high school player, got a bunch of offers, and went to Purdue. There, after 2 years, he became the best player in college basketball, won National Player of the Year back-to-back years, led his team to the national championship game, and was drafted 9th by the Memphis Grizzlies in the 2024 NBA draft.
Yeah, we just swept him.
The 9th pick in the 2024
First
NBA
round.
draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Zach Edey from Toronto, and Purdue University.
The Toronto
Zach
Utes.
Edey had a solid rookie season, averaging 9.2 points, 8 rebounds and 1.3 blocks as the starting centre for one of the best teams in the Western Conference. The success of Zach Edey after leaving IMG inspired the program to take on a similar challenge of preparing another giant for the next level, and that challenge was Olivier Rioux. He was even more of a process than Edey. Ollie has been training like a pro athlete for years now, and being at IMG Academy allowed him to focus on basketball every day. His daily routine would consist of weight room training, endurance, one-on-one sessions with the skill coaches, and time spent with his personal nutritionist. For Olivier,
Personal
a lot of things came
nutritionist
easy
in
to
high
him,
school.
rebounding, blocking shots, scoring close to the basket, but at his size the real challenge was keeping up with the pace and holding up for an entire basketball game. And he got better at that. At first he would only play sparingly in blowouts and for limited minutes, but as his high school career progressed he received more and more playing time and featured in a larger role. One thing I know you'll all agree with is that injuries are the worst part of sports. The national team at youth level, first debuting at the 2021 Under-16
I didn't make that
FIBA
team.
America
That's
Cup
tough.
Championships,
That's tough.
which is a tournament that includes North, Central and South American countries. Olivier Rioux was a
Had to
starter
retire
and
to play
performed well
football.
throughout this tournament. In
unlucky.
6 games he averaged 8.3 points, 10.3 rebounds and 2.5 blocks per game. He had some good games. In the quarterfinal against Puerto Rico he had 10 points, 9 rebounds and 3 blocks. But his best game came against Team USA in the semi-finals, facing off against some of the best talent in the country.
Oh,
Timberwolves guard
Dillingham.
MVP Robert Dillingham, who went on to be the number 8 pick out of Kentucky in the 2024 draft. And then Ron Holland from G
Ron
League
Holland.
Ignite, who was once the
9th
projected
pick,
number 1 pick
I'm pretty
before being
sure.
drafted by the Detroit Pistons last summer. But with all these top D1 and NBA prospects on the court, Olivier Rioux dominated.
La cuota de garantía en el perímetro para el equipo estadounidense.
Balón para Canadá, lo está manejando Canadá. Bad Black que intenta cerrar ahora. Arriba para el tiro Michael Tyne. Arriba Ríos. Ríos en cámara lenta. Quiero ver qué van a intentar. Ahí está Ríos. Puede ser esa, puede ser una fórmula.
Ríos.
Atrás McBride. Arriba para el lanzamiento, lo cerró.
He played 25 minutes, recorded 12 points, 12 rebounds and 4 blocks.
Yeah, that's
shooting
a pretty
5 of 8 from
damn
the
good
field.
game.
While Canada lost this game, they did capture a bronze
Yeah, we
medal
ain't
after
beating the
defeating
fucking
the
US,
Dominican
dog.
Republic in the 3rd place
We
game.
know black, we
Rioux
know
was a
Dominican.
contributor, having 10 points and 6 rebounds in just 17 minutes. A year later in 2023, Rioux was back representing his country, this time at the 2023 FIBA Under-19s World Cup. He was only
Damn, I couldn't
17
make
years
this
old
one.
at the time, making
Fuck.
him one of the younger players in a tournament that was stacked with pro prospects. France had Zachary Risacher and Alex
Wemby?
Sarr,
Nah,
the top
okay.
2 picks in the
Alex.
2024 NBA draft. Team USA had Cody
Cody.
Williams, who was drafted 10th by the Jazz in 2024. Also Dylan Harper, who's projected to be a top 3 pick in this
Oh,
year's
Dylan
draft.
Harper, holy
Rioux played
shit.
a lot less in this tournament, partially
Yeah, that's
because of
some
the fact
next
he was
level
competing for playing
competition.
time against slightly older, more experienced players. But in the limited time he did get, he averaged 3.2 points, 3.4 rebounds and a block per game. He made 7 of his 8 field goal attempts throughout this
Hey, that's
tournament,
decent.
and against Japan, the one
decent.
game where he played 10 or more minutes, he stood out with 10 points on 5 of 6 shooting with 5 rebounds and a block.
Yeah, he moves pretty well for a 7'9" there. Like legit, he's moving nice.
The most recent time Rioux represented the national team was in 2024, playing at the FIBA Under-18 AmeriCup Championships. This was the same tournament he played his best basketball in 2021 at Under-16s. The expectations were a lot higher this time, and it was a great opportunity for Rioux to show off his improvements that he made during his time at IMG. But he didn't take his game to that next level. He averaged 4.5 points, 4.5 rebounds and 2 blocks per game, and didn't have any standout performances. By the end of his high school career, Rioux was listed as a 3-star recruit by 24/7 Sports. And here's what one scout had to say about him. Rioux is a low post menace. He takes up immense space on the floor but doesn't move well on his feet. In short minutes, Rioux can come into a game, clog the paint, shield opponents away from the rim and be a serviceable rebounder.
Bro, he definitely
does
can
have
be
pretty
like
good
an
hands and
insane
touch
rim
on the offensive
protector.
side of the ball, but he
He just
will
needs
need to
the
continue
height,
developing
the
his
IQ.
coordination, especially in quick reaction circumstances. 24/7 Sports ranked Olivier Rioux as the 330th
He's never gonna be
best
like
player
an
in the
insane
country,
perimeter
the 55th
player,
best center, and
switchable,
28th best player
big
in
or
all of
anything like
Florida,
that.
which doesn't
Even
sound
shooting,
great,
I
especially
don't
in the
know,
one and
but,
done
like,
era
even
where
on
we
offense,
expect
it should
everyone
be
to be a McDonald's
decent.
All-American and future lottery pick right
Like,
away.
he
But
can't
remember,
play.
IMG Academy were playing the long game with Olivier Rioux,
On
and the
offense.
blueprint was Zach Edey, who after his senior year in high school was also a 3-star recruit and the 75th best center and 33rd best player in Florida. So Olivier Rioux was actually higher rated at the same age going into college than the guy who went on to be the best player in college basketball. And that fact right there is definitely promising. Going into college, Rioux generated a lot of interest from a bunch of different schools, and that's because he's an intriguing prospect with great potential. We've seen giants like Taco Fall at UCF and Mamadou Ndiaye at UC Irvine go on to be successful college players at that height, so there's no reason why Ollie couldn't be the same or even better. Despite having offers from other states all across the country, Ollie decided to stay in Florida and join the Gators, a decision that's paid off well so far. Ollie was recruited to the program with a long-term vision in mind. The plan at first was to ease him in over time, but naturally, due to his popularity, his presence became a bit of a distraction for the team. Rioux would be sitting on the end of the bench and fans would chant his name, desperate to see him in the game.
That's
To
the
prevent
Taco
this from
Fall
happening,
shit,
both
bro.
parties decided the
The
best thing to
Celtics were
do would
doing
be
this
for
shit.
Ollie to redshirt the season. Now, redshirting is a common practice in college basketball. Every player gets 4 years of college eligibility, and if somebody isn't going to play much their freshman year, sometimes it's better not to play them at all to preserve that extra year. Coach Golden explained publicly that despite the pressure he had from fans, he had Rioux's best interest at heart, saying he didn't want to burn a year of his eligibility for 30 seconds on the floor. Instead, Rioux spent this season cheering his teammates on from the bench, learning the game, the system, while still participating in team
personally, I ain't doing
practices,
no
scrimmages,
TikToks,
and
bruh.
working on his game. And this decision was the right one looking back, because as we know, the Florida Gators were really good. They had a 36-4 record in the regular season, won the SEC title, and in the NCAA tournament went to the Final Four and won a national title. Rioux might not have played on the court, but he got to experience the whole journey. He was a part of a championship winning team, got to see up close and personal what it takes to succeed at that level, while sharing the court, practicing and scrimmaging every day with guys like Walter Clayton Jr., who was the MVP of the Final Four and is on his way to the NBA draft this summer.
on
And
first
next season,
take.
as the
That boy
Gators look to
famous
defend
now.
their title, Rioux will have a bigger role with the team, and
Probably
with all the
made a
media
fuck ton of
attention
money.
the champions
Even
will receive
Rioux,
next
bro, he
season,
probably
he'll have a
made a
massive
fuck ton of
opportunity
money.
to make some serious money in
With
NIL
NIL.
due to his popularity. Rioux will start his college basketball career experienced. He's played at a top high school academy. He's represented his national team and won medals against the best player his age. And now he's a part of a winning program playing under one of the best young coaches in America. He has been well prepared for this jump. And the most important thing is this is what he wants. This isn't a case like Robert Bobrovsky, who some may remember played high school basketball at Spire Academy with LaMelo Ball. He was there solely because of his height. He now does a podcast and is pursuing a career in acting. Basketball was never really his thing. Same thing for Taco Fall. He was brought over from Senegal as a teenager, and while he's gone on to be a pro hooper in Australia, Taco always seemed more interested in technology. But Olivier Rioux eats, sleeps and breathes basketball. He wants to be a professional, and his coaches have always said that he's a hard worker. They've never had to push him to do things because he's always been committed himself. Going forward, Olivier Rioux is somebody we can expect to be a 4-year college player, and it's impossible to say how good he can become, because at 7'9", the sky is the limit. Nobody would have thought when Zach Edey first arrived at Purdue, starting just 2 of 28 games as a freshman, that he would go on to accomplish what he did. And the craziest thing is, Zach Edey is 5 inches shorter than Olivier Rioux. But I cannot end this video without addressing the elephant in the room. Is Olivier Rioux going to make the NBA?
Probably.
The answer is, he might not.
Probably.
Because while height may be enough to make you a great
It'll
college
definitely
player,
be in
being
the
tall isn't
summer
enough
league
anymore
for a
in the
minute.
NBA. There was a time in basketball where being the tallest player on the court was valuable, but at the highest level of the game in 2025, you can't just throw a big body in the paint anymore. Basketball has changed. These types of players are always targeted on defense because guards will pull them out of the paint, force a switch in the pick and roll, blow by them to the rim every time if they don't have the foot speed to recover. Also, a lot of centers can shoot the free ball now. Because of this, they can camp in the corner, which puts these centers in a difficult situation where they can either guard the rim and leave the shooter open, or deny the free ball and allow slashers to attack the basket. This is what separates somebody like Victor Wembanyama. He might be 7'4", but his height isn't the reason he was considered a generational prospect. It was what he's able to do with his height that set him apart. His guard guard-like skills,
defense.
handle, shooting, mobility, coordination, defensive IQ, and his versatility to guard multiple positions and
Yo,
switch whenever
Wemby?
necessary.
At
Despite
some point,
basketball
Wemby is
being
gonna
a
be
tall
built
man's
like
sport,
Giannis.
there is
Like,
such
no
thing as
joke.
being too tall for the NBA.
Bro has that
Taco
fucking
Fall,
gene
who we
in him,
mentioned
bro.
earlier, is a great example.
Muscles and
He
shit.
stood out his senior year in college, even went toe-to-toe with #1 pick Zion Williamson in the NCAA tournament. When he went to the NBA, he was a statue on the court, played under 5 games. But for every case study, it's almost unfair to compare anyone to Olivier Ryu, because we have never seen a basketball player this tall who can actually hold his own on the court against top talent. And because he redshirted this year, when he leaves college and is eligible to be drafted, he'll be 23, 24 years old. That gives him so much time to work on his body, his conditioning, endurance, and further develop his skills. And for that reason, I'm being optimistic, and I believe that many years from now in the 2029 NBA draft, there will be one team that decides to take a chance on Olivier
imagine
Ryu.
it's fucking
and he will
OKC
become the
or,
tallest player in NBA history. He's
Bro, I gotta
7'9"
tell my
right
kids I
now.
played
People
against
close to him say that he's
a
still
fucking
growing.
7'9"
He might even
NBA
be 8
player.
foot tall by then.
I
I
need
wouldn't
that.
rule anything out. But what do you guys think? Is Olivier Ryu going to make the NBA? And if so, what chances do you give him of actually having a successful career? Share your thoughts and feedback down below in the comments. And since we're